What a game we have seen. What a game. So Mamelodi Sundowns have won 1-0 against Esperance Tunis in the CAF Champions League quarterfinal first leg. So I'm going to break down the game, tell you exactly how Sundowns were able to mastermind and get that 1-0 victory, and also look a bit at their chances ahead of the second leg. I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, so welcome back. But before I even get into the video, I want you to do just only one thing for me. Give me a like, the like button. Just type on the like button. So let me get into the game. And I must say, first of all, I loved the pre-game experience from it, especially from that is the Esperance team. How the fans got into the streets of Pretoria, into the streets of South Africa, announcing themselves to the game. I mean, making the noise. It gives some sort of a vibe. I feel like we are here. The Tunisians are here. Like you must experience that before you even get into the stadium. I completely love that bit of experts from the Tunisians before the start of the game. So before the start of this match, it was quite pretty obvious that Esperance were coming into this game with a defensive mindset, a defensive approach to come and protect their goal. I previewed this game. I told you that the coach of Esperance, this man, Maher Kanzari, has not scored more than one goal in all the games he has played in 2025. So he's a typical defensive-minded coach. And the kind of approach he brought, even me, I was surprised. What a resolute defensive team. I mean, the team was impermeable. You simply couldn't penetrate them with your normal passes. You needed an extra touch, an extra sort of thought to break this Esperance team. And let me give you examples of those things here. Sundowns were very possessive in the first half. They possessed the ball a lot. I mean, 83% of possession. That was a lot of possession. But all that possession counted for nothing because they barely penetrated the Esperance team. They barely got enough penetration with that much pass. It was all about square passes, side passes, not enough penetrative passes to create a chances because all the passing lanes were blocked. But Sundowns themselves were a bit ineffective in the first half in one area. And let me show you this area. Here is Marcelo Allende on the ball, and he had Ribeiro Costa ahead of him. You can see him indicated there. He could have picked up a pass to Ribeiro Costa, and this would be a chance created. But what does he do? He holds onto the ball a bit further and doesn't release the ball. This is another instance, a run being made by Morena, Thapelo Morena, into the deep areas of Esperance. And again, the ball was not played into him. So holding on to the ball too much, trying to sort of pass amongst themselves, create a chance by making sideways passes, and it just wasn't working. This is even another shot. This time it was Aubrey Modiba, who had a lot of space in front of him. He was literally advancing into the final third, and a long pass to him would have been a dangerous opportunity for Sundowns, but that pass didn't happen also. The team was just not being sort of creative enough in terms of from the midfield, trying to pick the quick passes from midfield, quick long passes, very creative to pick on those runs. And that was the only way they were going to beat Esperance because the Esperance team was compact, was resolute. They had about 9 players behind the ball almost every single time. So there was not enough passing lanes to even create chances from there. You need to get your quick surprise passes. And it wasn't happening in the first half. And a game like this is mostly defined by moments. So at this point here, when Jan Sars got the chance to play through Elias Mokwena through pass, if he does that, Mokwena probably gets a 1v1 with, that is, the Sundowns goalkeeper. He gets a goal, and it's a different story. But instead, Jan Sars decides to go on his own and shoots the ball way wide. And I think this is where you have to praise the Sundowns coaching staff because they worked on this in the second half. You can see they worked on this. They addressed this issue in the second half because coming into the second half, the approach was different in terms of picking up players who were making the runs. And from even the goal they scored, Ribeiro Costa was on the ball somewhere in the middle, and he picks the run of Jaden Adams, who was making a run behind the Esperance defense, picks a long ball to him. Then, bam, a goal happens from there. So what they missed in doing in the first half, a lot of instances where they could have gotten a goal by pinging in the long balls in the first half, didn't happen. They did that perfectly in the second half, and they got the first goal from that instance. Here is even another incident. This time it was Silas who was making a run, and he was picked also. In the first half, I could give you 3 instances where players made runs and they were not picked. But in the second half already, they had 2 players picking them up with long balls when they made very dangerous runs. And that was how they created their chances in the second half. And Sundowns got 1 goal in the game through getting one of those long balls through and creating a chance from it. But one player I would really like to applaud his performance on the day for Sundowns was this man, Kuliso Mudau, who was the right back. I mean, on several occasions, he did not only stop the transitional play, which was going to be dangerous for Sundowns had it happen, but he also sort of saw fit. He saw fit that made a quick transition from being the defender to being the aggressor or the attacker by winning the ball and then going quick on counter attacks. And even when they tried to foul him, he was so strong, so fit. I mean, I just love how he played. He stopped at a point. He stopped Elias Mukwena from making a lot of runs at a point. He was even stopping Yusuf Belay. So it was literally Mudau stopping a dangerous threat of Esperance, who sort of had a few times where, I mean, Mukwena gets on a run and then he's about to create a chance. Belay gets on a run, he's about to create a chance. And it was this man, Kuliso Mudau, who was stopping them and also very aggressive in terms of attacking that flank of, that is, Esperance. But this picture also tells you that this game is very important to not only the Sundowns team, but also to the coaching staff, because here is the coach, Miguel Cardozo, holding or taking away, that is, Lucas Ribeiro Costa away from a scene of a fight. And there's a reason to that. So Ribeiro is on 2 yellow cards. He gets 1 extra yellow card and he's going to miss the next game. So you can see the coach here, he had to come onto the field on himself and tell him, Ribeiro, get out of the scene. I need you in the next game. I don't need you to get a yellow card. So he took it upon himself to drive and push him out of the situation. And that tells you how much everybody in this Sundowns team wants the team to sort of win this tie against Esperance, and everyone must play their parts in this. But for Esperance, I think it was a perfect execution of a game plan. They limited Sundowns to just 3 shots on goal. And these 3 shots on goal, 1 was from Mukwena, which was a free kick. 2 was from Mukwena, a shot from about 35 yards out, which didn't even trouble the goalkeeper. And 3 was a goal they scored. So essentially, apart from the goal, Sundowns didn't create any chance the whole game. They're not able to really penetrate Esperance and create a chance the whole game. I think we have to applaud and the tactical brilliance in terms of trying to be compact and stop Sundowns from scoring. I think that was the approach. It was very evident. And I'll tell you why Esperance had this approach. So if you take from 2019, Sundowns have always messed up in the Champions League when they play against the big teams. And there's a very similar pattern as to why they mess up. In 2019, they lost the first leg to Wydad 2-1. So when they were going to play in the second leg, they had to win in order to qualify. And Sundowns were eventually eliminated. Then in 2020, the game they were eliminated, they lost the first leg 2-0 to Al Ahly. So by second leg, they had to win and they fumbled it up. In 2021, it was the same story. Lost 2-0 to Al Ahly in the first leg. The second leg, they had to win, and they fumbled it. In 2022, another similar story again. They lost the first leg 2-1 to Petro Luanda, and they were not able to win the second leg, and fumbled and they lost. Then in 2023, they played a goalless draw against, that is, Wydad Casablanca in the first leg. So in the second leg, they had to win to advance, and they didn't get the win and then were eliminated. In 2024 also, they lost 1-0 the first leg to Esperance. So coming into the second leg, they had to win, didn't win, and they were eliminated. So Esperance coming into this game knew this was their history. This is how Sundowns sort of get eliminated. So the idea was not to win the game. It was just to avoid Sundowns from winning, because if Sundowns do not win this game, that means going into the second leg, they must win in order to qualify. And from what we've seen since 2019, when Sundowns needs a win to qualify, they don't show up. They simply cannot win. They have to win the first leg before they advance. So I think that was a perfect game plan for Esperance into the game. And unfortunately, that individual brilliance moment from Lucas Ribeiro Costa to pick the long ball to Jaden Adams, and then there was the pass to Peter Shalolile, who got that goal for Sundowns, being the differential moments in the game. But with that being said, I don't really think the tie is just over yet, because for a lot of times, when you watch North African teams, when they play away from home, they are a different side, especially when it's the first leg, when they are playing the first leg away from home. It looks as if they don't know how to play football. I've watched a lot of times when North African teams play the first leg, it looks like they cannot compete. They can't play. They can't give passes. I mean, in this game, Esperance had less than 100 passes. So that has always been how they look when they are playing the first leg away from home. And then when they go into the second leg, it's a whole different story. When they get in their dungeon, in their home stadiums, it's a whole different story. And I've seen this happen over and over again. So with that being said, I don't really think the game is over yet. I think there's a lot of work Sundowns need to do if they must qualify. And even for Esperance, if they want to qualify, there's also a lot of work to do, because at this point, the approach is two ways. Do how to open up against Sundowns in the second leg? And you know the quality Mamelodi Sundowns have. If you play an open game with them, it could be a 50-50K. But then I don't think this game is over yet, though. There's a lot to fight for in the second leg. So Esperance will play Mamelodi Sundowns in the second leg. Let's see what happens. But for now, it's Sundowns who are going into the second leg with a 1-0 advantage.